Okay, so we want to simplify this. That's what they're asking us to do, simplify. How do we simplify? Well, we can start canceling some numbers here. I don't know what, maybe divide by 2. Those are big numbers. They're both in roots, right? The 196, the 144, they're both in roots. So we can simplify. So divide by 2. What's half of that? I don't know. 98. Right, 180 and 60. Yeah. And the bottom, half of that is 72. And and the powers will subtract, won't they? Z to the 5th, take away, this is Z to the 1 on the bottom. That leaves Z to the 4th. But you know what I'm forgetting is the square root that's still over. Let me make that a little bigger. Well, there's 2 of them, huh? So I'll just do 2 separate. Square root on the top, square root on the bottom. There we go. Is that good so far? See what happened? So I just divided top, bottom, top. I'm not done. I got more dividing to do. And I subtracted the powers. Remember, we always subtract the powers. In fact, actually, you know what? Let me make this problem a little different, just to make it more interesting. What if this was 6th power? Then when I subtract them, I'd have 5 here. I just like to show the harder case. Okay, let's just suppose it was that. All right, so now we keep going. There's more to do. There's more where that came from. Divide top and bottom by 2. And see what we get here. On the top, if you divide by 2, what is that? 49. 49. I'll keep the Z to the. But on the bottom, divide by 2, and you get 36, right? Okay. And we have a square root on the top still. Let me make sure it's clear that it goes all the way out. It wasn't so well. There we go. Okay, good so far. So I just divided by 2 a couple of times. Divided by 2 top and bottom, divided by 2 top and bottom again. We get to this, and I subtracted the powers. 6 minus 1 is 5 on the top. If the bigger power was on the bottom, the 6 on the bottom, 1 on the top, the Z to the 5th would be on the bottom, wouldn't it? Okay, now what? Now you can square root the 49, can't you? Well, actually, you know what I should do? I should rewrite this Z to the 5th. You remember what we do with odd powers? We make them even with 1 more. Remember that? Anytime you have an odd power, make it even with 1 more, because 4 plus 1 is still 5. So odd powers make it even and 1 more. And now the square root of 49, that's just 7 on the top. Square root of 36, that's just 6 on the bottom. So you just root those numbers. And then what about the Z's? What do? You send it out half the power. And the other Z would still be left inside. And that's our answer. Now let me make sure it's clear what happened there on that last step. Remember, whenever you square root a number, the root is no longer over that number. He did his job on that number. He's off of that number now. So the square root of 49 is 7, no longer has a root on it. It did the root. And the square root of 36 is 6, no longer has a root. It did the root. And the square root of Z to the 4th is Z squared, right? 2 for 1. Whenever you do the 2 for 1, then there's no longer a root over that piece. The Z squared comes out the front there and is gone, right? Half the power, right? But the other Z has to stay in. So the only thing left in a root that couldn't be rooted was that leftover Z. Like that. And so there we go. We got our answer.